My god, has XI been stealing the show with its exposition drops as of late? A few episodes ago, we had the whole Parad is Emu's Bugster thing. Then we had the whole Asuna manifested from Kuroto's mother thing, and now here we get expansion on why the hell Kuroto has pretty much just what birthed his god complex megalomania. And pretty much I was fine characterization-wise with him just going the god complex route, but no, they actually expanded on kind of not why he has it, but part of what facilitated his devolution to that, presumably with the in tandem with the influence of the proto-mighty action X-Gashad corrupting his thinking. So, pretty much why Poppy even exists is Kuroto's mother was dying around the same time that they got the Bugster virus originally out of Emu, and then he just once he got his samples and could, like, redistribute the virus, at least that's how I'm presuming the timeline for this works, as it was 6 years ago, which in the XI timeline, around 6 years ago, was also when Zaizen and the other movie villains, where they expanded on that, extracted the Bugster virus from Emu, which gave birth to Parad. So if we're following a linear timeline for this, in that they mean 6 years ago, they mean not just 6 years ago in general, but 6 years ago from around this date in their timeline, then Kuroto would have had access to the Bugster virus they extracted from Emu, which would lead to him infecting his mother and giving birth to Asuna, aka Poppy. This all is significant for especially Kuroto and his god complex, as he reveals this episode that, to explain his own revival through the Mighty Action X origin Gashot, that there does exist a continuous system for anyone killed, well, anyone that's given the game over death condition as part of Kamen Rider Chronicle or anything else, which confirms to Kagami that he can rescue his girlfriend after all these years. Taiga can, in essence, get redemption for that from Kagami, as he will save his girlfriend. He will be her hero. I'm loving the pun they ended up doing with that. And Taiga's getting his own redemption through clearing Kamen Rider Chronicle. But the bigger thing for this revelation is Kyria. The save data of anyone killed is, as part of the Kamen Rider system, is saved in the prototypes of the Gashots. Now, whether this works for Kyria due to the conditions of his death is questionable, as right now we know the save state data for those killed through becoming hosts are stored in the prototypes of those Gashots. So Kagami is going for the Proto-Dragonite Hunter Gashot, which is presumably in Graphite's hands right now, because he died with it on him and they never retrieved it. The Proto-Dore-Mi-Fa Beat Gashot, but in turn stores Kuroto's mother's save data, so he probably has that sequestered somewhere itself on its own. Actually, kind of think of it, that prototype was stolen during the movie's instance, so who knows where it is right now. But, yeah, with that, Kuroto could possibly revive his mother, which was pretty much the impetus for Kamen Rider Chronicle, they presume, to create a condition where no one truly will die through play in the game, which will it's the ultimate game edge that puts their life on the line, but not really. It's just that they're all locked up in there until someone can clear it. So while the Bugsters have previously said that anyone that if they clear Common or Chronicle that it will revive all this people, I thought it was a lie, as it's so blatantly obviously a lie. And yet, could they actually have been telling the truth to get their prey all the more interested in the game, and just with the presumption of Parad's planning to overwhelm any possible opposition now that he's at level 99, or that maybe he didn't even care about this kind of conquest since all he's been focused on is Emu. Now, we finally get where all the team's continues have gone, however. Kuroto has stolen them. We've got a few funny moments in here mixed in with all the drama, and as Parad goes after Emu again as he helps someone else that's trying to battle the Shakuriki Sports Bugster, I believe his name is Charlie? Yeah, I think it's Charlie. That's kind of a weird name. But, actually funny spot in this one, too, is when Emu is chasing after it, Charlie tries to pull an E.T. Now, as anyone who has infrequently followed me, I hate that movie because it scares the crap out of me. Yes, I am seriously afraid of that frickin' Muppet. But, so, I'm kind of overly aware of the meta references for that one, and it's like, that seemed a bit off for me, for them to do that. But anyways, when Kuroto comes to confront Parad, he kills him. He just straight up secret technique with his gear duel to get a superpowered rider punch, and he just straight up kills him. And it's like, it's the absolute last thing we expected to see, especially with the purported power of the alpha type of the entire rider system to be taken down that easily, because in these series, the prototype or first archetype model, it's almost always the source of the most powerful potential to go, to recycle and go back to it. Admittedly, they've played with that the last few years on occasion, like the drive system with the shift speed prototype and the super dead heat Trideron key, where they're actually weaker than standard drive, but are the basis for them. So it's not unheard of, but usually when you go into specific, like, niche media where everything is superpowered technology, you go back to the prototype for a lot of this stuff, and it's more powerful. Thinking of a common reference I can use for this, like Wing Zero and the Tall Geese from Gundam Wing. The Tall Geese was the prototype for all other mobile suit technology in Gundam Wing, and Wing Zero was the prototype for the other 5 base Gundam units in that series, and they were vastly more powerful and more effective than anything that was developed from them. Gundam Seed also follows this logic with the X prototype Gundams in that series. They're prototypes for testbed technology that would be implemented in mass-produced designs. Neon Genesis, okay, a lot of mecha series usually follow this logic, so it's kind of the logic I was expecting this to follow, because testbed technology versus mass production. Yeah, we get the bit of this with Kamen Rider 2 with the hero type versus the MP Riders, but it's more infrequent. So, what we thought with the Bugster suppression ability with Mighty Action Origin, and that's actually a very nice name. I didn't know it last week, but that's definitely a good choice for to distinguish it from the Mighty Action X prototype that Kuroto previously used. Anyways, as I was trying to get along on that tangent, I thought it was just going to be a ridiculously powerful form since it utilizes the whole level 0 system. but what it actually does, through its Bugster suppression ability, is it steals their levels. Now that's pretty ingenious, because every time the Bugsters have come back, they have come back with a higher level, more power. And because of the developing nature of the Bugster infection. So it's, as I keep relating to the Dot Hack parallel, the infection stage was the early side of the show, the mutation stage was them going stronger, the outbreak stage is what we're in right now with Commodore Chronicle, and this is one way to bring about the quarantine, to negate any type of level advantage they have by draining it away. The question is whether on death they are reset to this same lowered level, thus become a virus that can be immunized against, as it's no longer growing, changing, mutating, evolving, or whether that they can recover their levels on their own. As there's a bit of inconsistency in the two battles in this episode on whether that applies, because in the first battle, Kuroto touches Parad long enough to steal enough levels to take him from level 99 to level 75. The next time they fight, Parad is back up to 99, and over the course of the second set of grappling, with Emu backing Kuroto up, or I should say the two collaborating, they manage to drain Parad down to level 50. So, since he had to retreat both of those times, is his actual effective level down to 50 again, or because his power level comes from his Gas Shot, it's automatically reset every time he transforms? So that is a pseudo-relevant question for things, but either way, as a result of this episode, Kuroto recovers his Dangerous Zombie Gas Shot, and from previews, he's back in the Dangerous Zombie level X costume. So, I'm guessing what they're utilizing with that is showing, last time Dangerous Zombie was used in a gamer driver, it pretty much killed Kyria. So, is this because Kuroto is already dead / a Bugster that it actually works now? Or because the Dangerous Zombie Gas Shot was made from his death data that he's immune to this debilitation effect that comes into play with it? As even in this episode, when Parad was shown slotting into his Parablagon, it was shown infecting and damaging him with the same miasma effect that affected Kyria. So, I'm going to presume that they're either going to explain that away, or I'm going to go from the logic that since it was created from Kuroto's death data, that he's the only one immune to this debilitation that will come from it. So yeah, that's a lot of major events tied to various points of just Kuroto's origin, but what made this much stronger than I expected is Emu has not forgiven him. There's no way he's going to forgive him for how callously he treats life, and I really like this. It frustrates me immensely when, any type of show lets off someone who has gone super I can't even speak the word. Megamaniacally villainous to the point their actions almost destroyed the world with their callousness. You kind of see me going off on this with Dot Hack GU and some of their content places. I really love the Haseo, everyone mourns, everyone grieves speech he does there, as it perfectly captures his actions. I actually cite the Ovan instance in that a lot, in that when I come across those, the recurrences of this redeem the villain trope, because so many things do it wrongly, in that they forgive the villain even though it is not their place to forgive them for the acts they've committed. So, while Emu's willing to work with Kuroto after some time and mulling his situation over, he's not going to forgive him, because there is no shown sign of a desire to repent. Like, his performed actions are not defensible. They are not things you can write off with a simple apology. He has to. It's like, it's too personal. It's too. You are someone affected so deeply by the actions this person has committed that you are the absolute metric of whether a person can or should be forgiven. And Emu cannot do it because Kuroto has made every person who's died because the Bugster virus reflect on him. And I think that's a really good thing to showcase with this. As I've said, my personal frustration with how someone outside of this metric of, like, they're 3 degrees removed, where they say an X person who has committed X atrocity can be forgiven for doing that, even though the person who may have committed them are a murderous, genocidal, maybe even omnicidal maniac by the time they are defeated. They have goals which affect so many lives, and yet the hero lets them off without even a punishment after their defeat, as long as they say they will repent. And it's like, no. It's like, again, to the Dot Hack GU thing, I liked how there was a internal struggle to want to forgive him when it was shown that his actions were to fix the entire situation they had gotten themselves into, even with all the horrible acts they committed, and Ovan's open acceptance of his sins is in the diametric opposition of where you need to beat down and defeat X villainous force to make them realize what they did was wrong. No, he knew what he did was wrong. He did it anyways because at the end, he was going to give up his life as his own redemption. He just needed to get to the point where they were going to do that. My point with this is that they're not just shoving it all under the rug. They're not adding Kuroto to the cast. Oh, I'm sorry. I was corrupted by the Proto-Action X-Gosh, and I'm going to be nice now. No, they're not doing that. They're keeping Kuroto the same person he always was. They're just forcing them to work together to clear this whole situation. And I was surprised how much this actually accented the whole situation with how the writers have both been working together this series and yet are divided in some aspect of ideology. Here, we finally have someone where they all are justified in not wanting to work with him, and yet they're going to do it anyways because they have no better options, and they recognize that, and so they're actually going to do it. It shows a bit of growth in the respect of Taiga and Kagami's characters, that they even are considering this, while Emu has finally been forced to look at someone that he must reject with the same fervor everyone else originally rejected him with, except, with good reason instead of petty ones. So I liked, it contrasts with something that frustrated me, in that it actually feels justified in how they're dealing with it here. Another big element to this one which helped make it work is how I already kind of addressed the humanization of Kuroto with the subplot with his mother, but really what helped sell that was Asuna acting on those memories to not so much redeem Kuroto, but show that there's another side to him that is normally just drowned out under his megalomania. And it pretty much comes from her thanking Kuroto for even giving her life. Like, and it makes him actually realize what the others are fighting for, but in more personal terms. Asuna is someone that he created. In his own stylization of a god complex, this is his first creation. This is the first life he brought into fruition. And Asuna even uses the phrase that Kuroto is her father, which is all kinds of squick, considering that Kuroto created his daughter, Poppy, through killing his mother. And it's like, this is all Oedipus, weird take on the grandfather paradox kind of thing. It's like, he is the father to his own mother. Ew. It's like, that's kind of ew. Or rather, I should rephrase it. Poppy is Kuroto's daughter, but has the memories of Kuroto's mother. And it's like, this is all sorts of weird and squick, and it actually works in the setting to not be that, but then you start thinking about it, and now I just can't unsee it. And I apologize to all of my watchers that now have that picture stuck in their heads as well. You know, Poppy gets some good scenes on top of that, with pretty much just trying to, I don't want to say baby, but get Kuroto to actually cooperate with everyone. To the point that when, in the second battle of the episode, where Kuroto tries to confront Paradox on his own, she's actually the one to take him out of the battle by using her Rider Form's finishing move on him to pretty much knock him out temporarily. It backfires massively on her when Paradox then tries to kill her, but that's when the humanization moment comes with this whole Asuna, like, justification of Kuroto's god complex and giving him something to fight for. The lives that he has actually created and now seems to want to protect from the bugsters that are just going to destroy everything for their own goals, even though, from a certain point of view, there are also his children, since, you know, he is the one that's facilitated the birth of the bugsters and the forms they've taken. Regardless, it provides an interesting it contrasts perfectly against Emu, where Kuroto's more selfish and self-oriented, where Emu's more selfless and externally oriented, and especially since the final battle with Paradox takes place with them both in just the base mighty, Exide and Genom base rider form suits. Like, Emu does the whole power up to maximum mighty X, but then ejects immediately out of it because the maximum mighty suit is ridiculously unwieldy. So, and it's like, it's playing off of expectations with seeing it like this, but the contrast in personality between them, and how Kuroto's more fleshed out than the blanking on the phrase I want to use. Do I want to use sociopath or try and actually say the word megalomaniac? There, that time I got it. The megalomaniac he is. So, additional information that comes at the end of this is, again, the stuff with Kagami's girlfriend being stuck in the proto-Gashots, the possibility that Kiria, because of the way he died, is stuck in the proto-Bakuso bike Gashot. Now, that's actually concerning because Exide's Hyper Battle video is coming soon, and it's being released with the Proto Bakuso by Gashot as a special release thing. And Kiria is once again a returning character in that Hyper Battle video because Exide uses it to hybridize his level 2 form and the Boxo bike into a pseudo level 4 form. But if Kiria, I'm presuming that Kiria is in the Proto Boxo bike Gasha, because that's the presumption from the trailers for that Hyper Battle video, meaning the question there is, are they going to be reviving him and using that as the facilitation of the way they do revive him? Because we've gotten, what's the phrase? We've gotten passerby pictures of them shooting footage from an upcoming, either an episode or they're shooting the movie, where Kiria's actor is on set, and there is sign that Laser, in either a new form or special form for the movie where they're presumably having him back, shows up there. And it seems like it would be silly for them to have a new form for a character they're not resurrecting from the dead. Hell, if the character is not going to be resurrected from the dead, then why is there still a placeholder in the opening credits for Kiria? It's like there's this glitched out section still in the opening sequence that they updated recently, and they updated it again after Kuroto changed the cast, as previously his section of it was glitched out as well. So this is leading to the question of, with this new information, are they actually going to bring Kiria back, like, permanently, for the final third of the show? That would... I'd say this scene... Like I said before, Kiria's death pissed me off, as they didn't really do anything with him before they set up this supposedly uber-traumatic early side of the show death that I felt was pretty much a waste because of how the early side of the show felt rushed. And they've built on it since then to not quite justify it, but, like, it's not just something that was forgotten throughout the majority of the show, like Gein did with it. So, if they're bringing him back, it would make sense, and, you know, giving him more screen time in the late in the show, like, it would not quite fix that, but at least it would give us more supportive time with the character, because otherwise we just have 10 episodes and a spring movie related web series that was the depth of the character. Though, admittedly, if they bring him back again, this only further invalidates that web series, since, you know, that was supposed to be the last laugh of Don Kuroto, and that's not what it ended up being. But tied to that, again, was the whole Saki thing, which, for such a big ongoing plot point, it brings up the same complaint I had before. She had less than 2 total minutes of screen time, and yet those 2 minutes are all that's supposed to inform a character drive and arc for a show that's... You even had the brave spin-off to do something with that, and yet you didn't. It's so frustrating. But the other thing that comes from this is a second Gashot Gear Duel beta. So, Kagami and Taiga no longer have to trade off who's using the level 50 form. They can both use level 50. They can both technically possibly use the same level 50 form if they wanted to. They don't want to. So finally, we have 3 full level 50 riders. Technically, okay, we have 2 level 50 riders, 2 level X riders, thanks to Get 'em getting back Dangerous Zombie. We have a level 99, and we have a level 10, with Nico in her ride player outfit. So we have 6 amazingly strong riders, and they're going up against a level 99, a level question mark, and whatever level Graphite's at. So, this should be interesting. We haven't really had a full team of riders like this that are this strong or this united in a cause. But the question mark there is, how heavily are they going to get wrecked by Kronos since he's showing up next time? That'll be interesting.